Welcome to Truth Behind History. This is the channel where we dive deep into the moments that shaped our world, unpacking stories from the past and uncovering the truths you might not have learned in school. Today, we're exploring a fascinating topic: how World War II wasn't just a clash of nations, but also a breeding ground for groundbreaking technologies. During World War II, innovation hit the fast-forward button. As nations scrambled to gain a strategic edge, they pushed the boundaries of science like never before. This period became a catalyst for some of the most significant technological breakthroughs in history. In this video, we're going to look at two pivotal innovations: the Manhattan Project, which launched the atomic age, and radar technology, which forever changed how wars were fought and won. But it's not just about what happened on the battlefield, it's about how these advancements still shape our world today. So, buckle up as we explore the race for innovation during one of the most tumultuous times in history. Let's dive in. Alright, let's dive into one of the biggest scientific undertakings of World War II, the Manhattan Project. This wasn't just a research initiative, it was the birth of the atomic age. The Manhattan Project officially kicked off in 1939 after some of the world's brightest minds, including Albert Einstein, raised the alarm. They warned that Germany might be developing nuclear weapons, and the United States knew it couldn't risk falling behind. This urgency set the stage for a project that would change the course of history. But here's the thing, this wasn't just an American effort. It was a top-secret collaboration between the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. This kind of international teamwork was almost unheard of at the time, especially under such extreme secrecy. Imagine coordinating across three nations when even the Vice President of the United States didn't know the project existed. And then there's the scale. Over 130,000 people were involved, from scientists and engineers to construction workers. The cost? Nearly $2 billion in 1940s dollars, that's tens of billions today. The Manhattan Project wasn't just a scientific endeavor, it was a massive industrial operation unlike anything the world had ever seen. And this is just the beginning. Next, we'll explore the incredible breakthroughs and discoveries that came out of this monumental effort. Now that we've set the stage for the Manhattan Project, let's dig into the breakthroughs that turned this monumental effort into a scientific revolution. First up, the technical achievements. One of the most critical milestones was the success in uranium enrichment and plutonium production. These two processes were the backbone of creating a working atomic bomb. And where did they start? In a squash court, of all places. At the University of Chicago, a team led by Enrico Fermi achieved the world's first controlled nuclear chain reaction, an experiment known as Chicago Pile 1. It was the moment the atomic age truly began. But science doesn't happen in isolation, it happens because of people. Robert Oppenheimer, often called the father of the atomic bomb, led the effort at Los Alamos, New Mexico, designing and assembling the bombs. Meanwhile, other key figures like Fermi worked on refining the materials in Chicago, while massive facilities like Oak Ridge in Tennessee and Hanford in Washington handled production on an industrial scale. These sites were so big they functioned like entire cities, working 24/7 to keep the project moving forward. And then came the ultimate result, the creation of two atomic bombs. Little Boy, which used uranium, and Fat Man, which used plutonium, were designed and tested. These devices were revolutionary and devastating. What makes this so mind-blowing is how this combination of science, engineering, and sheer determination came together to make the impossible possible. Next, we'll shift gears to another World War II innovation that helped win battles in a very different way: radar. Stick around. Now let's talk about radar technology, an innovation that wasn't as flashy as the atomic bomb, but was absolutely critical to the Allied victory in World War II. Radar, or radio detection and ranging, was the technology that gave the Allies eyes in the sky, in the sea, and on the battlefield. So, how does it work? At its core, radar sends out radio waves and then analyzes how those waves bounce back after hitting an object. By studying the reflections, it can detect the distance, size, and even the speed of objects that are far away or hidden from view. It might sound simple now, but back then, this was cutting-edge science. During the war, radar technology underwent a massive transformation. Scientists improved its range, making it possible to detect enemies from farther away. They boosted resolution, so radar could distinguish between targets like planes or ships. And they made it more mobile, adapting the equipment for use in battlefield conditions. And just like the Manhattan Project, radar development was driven by key figures and institutions. Robert Watson Watt, often considered the father of radar, led the charge in making it a practical tool for war. In the United States, places like MIT's Radiation Laboratory worked around the clock to refine and deploy this game-changing technology. But how did this innovation change the course of the war? Stick with me, because that's what we're tackling next. Now, let's see radar technology in action. During World War II, radar wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a strategic advantage that changed the way battles were fought. Take the Battle of Britain, for example. Radar gave the Royal Air Force an incredible edge by providing early warning of incoming Luftwaffe attacks. This allowed the British to scramble fighter planes in time, saving fuel, lives, and their defenses. Without radar, the story of this battle, and perhaps the entire war, might have ended very differently. Radar's impact wasn't limited to the skies, though. At sea, it guided naval forces during critical night battles and helped locate enemy submarines. Imagine being in the middle of the ocean, with enemies lurking below the surface, and having this invisible tool to pinpoint their position. It turned the tides, literally. But radar wasn't just about individual battles. It provided the Allies with a decisive advantage overall. It let them anticipate and counter enemy movements with unprecedented precision, giving them control over the battlefield in a way that had never been possible before. This was warfare at an entirely new level. But the story of radar doesn't stop with World War II. In fact, its impact stretches far beyond the battlefield. Let's explore its legacy in the next section. So, what happened to radar after the war? Turns out, its impact extended far beyond military use. Radar technology didn't just win battles, it laid the groundwork for innovations that shaped the modern world. First, let's talk about post-war applications. Radar evolved into tools we rely on every day. It revolutionized aviation by helping air traffic controllers guide planes safely. It became essential for meteorology, allowing us to track storms and predict weather more accurately. And yes, even traffic control, those speed radars you see on the highway, that's radar technology at work. Then came the Cold War, where radar took on a whole new role. It became a critical tool for surveillance, detecting incoming missiles and monitoring adversaries. If you've ever wondered how nations kept an eye on each other during that tense era, radar was one of the unsung heroes. And finally, let's not forget its modern impacts. Radar paved the way for technologies like GPS and advanced communication systems, the signals bouncing off satellites and enabling us to navigate with our smartphones. That's radar-inspired innovation in action. It's incredible how a technology born in wartime evolved into something that touches almost every part of our daily lives. But radar wasn't the only legacy of World War II. Let's take a step back and look at the broader impact of these innovations in the next section. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture, the legacy of World War II innovations. These technological breakthroughs didn't just help win the war, they set the stage for the modern world. First, there's the foundation for modern science. The Manhattan Project, for example, wasn't just about building bombs. It spurred major advances in nuclear physics, energy production, and even medical imaging. Technologies like X-rays and cancer treatments owe a lot to the research kick-started during World War II. Then there's the influence on Cold War dynamics. The innovations developed during World War II defined military strategies for decades afterward. Radar systems, nuclear weapons, and other technologies became central to how nations prepared for and avoided direct conflict during the Cold War. These tools were as much about deterrence as they were about defense. But perhaps the most profound legacy is the ethical questions these innovations raised. World War II forced scientists, politicians, and society at large to grapple with the dual nature of technology, the fact that it can be used for both creation and destruction. These debates didn't end with the war. They continue to shape discussions around scientific responsibility today. The ripple effects of World War II innovation are massive, and they're not all easy to categorize as purely good or bad. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into the ethical challenges posed by these advancements. Let's go! Now, let's dig into one of the most complex aspects of World War II innovations, the ethics and responsibility tied to these groundbreaking technologies. First, there's the idea of scientific accountability. The Manhattan Project and the development of nuclear weapons highlighted what's called the dual-use dilemma. The same scientific discoveries that can advance humanity, like nuclear energy, can also be used to create weapons of mass destruction. It's a stark reminder of the responsibility that comes with knowledge. Next, we have the impact on society. The Manhattan Project and radar didn't just change the war, they reshaped the very fabric of life. From the fear of nuclear annihilation during the Cold War to the everyday conveniences radar made possible, these technologies showed how innovation could redefine human existence, for better or for worse. Finally, there's the need for future considerations. World War II taught us that transformative technologies require careful governance. Without the right rules and safeguards in place, the potential for misuse or unintended consequences becomes all too real. These lessons from World War II aren't just history, they're a roadmap for navigating the ethical challenges of today's technologies, from artificial intelligence to genetic engineering. But before we wrap things up, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered in this journey. Let's wrap up this incredible journey through the innovations of World War II. From the groundbreaking Manhattan Project to the revolutionary impact of radar, it's clear that this period of history was more than just a global conflict, it was a turning point for science, technology, and society. These advancements didn't just win battles, they reshaped the modern world. Nuclear physics, aviation, weather forecasting, and even the way we think about ethics in science all carry the fingerprints of World War II innovations. They're reminders of how necessity and urgency can push humanity to achieve the extraordinary. But they also teach us caution. The dual-use dilemma of technologies like nuclear weapons is a lesson we're still grappling with today. With great power comes great responsibility. Sound familiar? If you've enjoyed this dive into history and technology, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Truth Behind History. Let me know which part of World War II innovation you found most fascinating. And if you're hungry for more hidden stories about the past, check out my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.